And my father
It's time
always
to put our
says,
excuses to the side and empower different.
I have a hard time following this.
Help. It is time to be fearless.
roots are who you are. Wings are who you can become. If you and I are to live a life of success and significance, a life of meaning, purpose, and joy, then I submit to you that we need strong roots that will anchor us in this ever-changing, often windy world. Roots that will give us a sense of identity, a sense of self, a sense of direction. I also submit to you that we need outstretched, powerful wings to carry us outside of the familiar, outside of our comfort zone, and into the possibilities, the rich experiences that life has to offer. In my life, Africa, Congo, Central Africa, provided those rich experiences early in my life. In essence, Africa gave me my roots. And later in life, America opened doors and possibilities for me to dream, for me to dare, for me to be fearless. America gave me my wings. And the zigzag between these two places began in 1967. My father was helped by Presbyterian missionaries out of central Congo to the College of Worcester in Ohio. My mom, the smarter of the two, she got a scholarship in '68 that took her from the Congo to Vassar College in New York. As fate would have it, they met here in the US. So America played matchmaking between my parents. And they went back, had my two older sisters, and decided to come back to the US for their advanced degrees. This time they were in Boston, Massachusetts. My older brother was born, and then a couple years later I was born. So by birth, my brother and I are the two Americans in a family of Congolese, which was always interesting. Less than a year later after I was born, we're all packed up, went back to our roots, went back to Congo, where I would spend the next decade and a half of my life. And growing up in the Congo as Americans was always interesting because the dynamic had it that every time there was political unrest, which was quite often, we grew up under a dictatorship, a guy named Mobutu, the United States Embassy would send out these alerts, these warning letters. Get the heck out of the Congo. And we would receive those. And it was quite funny. It was like, and go where? And but it made us feel a little special. You know, in fact, I remember walking up to my parents and going, hey, if you guys don't get your act together, I'm going back to Uncle Sam. I don't have to deal with this stuff. But that went on year after year after year, until I was 17, and I came back to the US. And this, not just anywhere, Ashland, Oregon. From Congo to Ashland, Oregon. Yes, it was a culture shock. I had to adjust, had to learn the language that I'm communicating today with, and also, of course, the culture and embracing every opportunity that Ashland had to offer, and then eventually settled in Portland, Oregon. And now I go back and forth between the two places. Roots are who you are. Wings are who you can become. And I understood that both the need to be anchored and the need to stretch are not mutually exclusive. It's part of the same continuum of our growth and our progress. And this aha moment happened in one of my trips from Portland, Oregon to Congo in 2008 October, I took a group of friends out of Portland to the Congo. And after about 26 hours of flying, we're about to land, and I'm looking outside a window, and I see, this is Lubumbashi, Congo, and I see the red earth. I see the mud huts. I see the lush vegetation. I see the landscape. And this feeling rushed over me. I was home, and I nudged my friend Phil and said, I'm home. Fast forward, 13 days later, barely 2 weeks, we're about to land at Portland International Airport. And I'm looking outside the window once again. I see the beautiful Pacific Northwest landscape. I see Mount Hood. I see Mount St. Helens. I see the Columbia River in between. Once again, I nudged Phil and said, I'm home. How can these two places that look so different on paper, look so different, yet can evoke such affinity, such connection? And that moment, I understood that I was part of that same continuum between roots and wings, as we all are. So don't let the world make you choose one over the other. I think we can be both. Am I African? Absolutely. Am I American? Of course. But even better, I'm African American. So these lessons of roots and wings in my life began since day one. School was in session. It started with my name. My parents put us right to school when they gave me 9 names. This is overkill. My full name is Lukusa Badibanga Radja K. François Benjamin Fariala Benoit Lou. Lou for short. Lou for short. Lou for short. And the message was that I was part of a collective. The names that were given to me was a sense of responsibility, a sense of connection to my ancestors, a sense of responsibility to be an ambassador of what it meant to be part of that family. And I took that very seriously from day one. The idea that I was not alone, that my actions, my deeds, my thoughts, my values represented more than myself. And where I'm from, in the Congo, we did not have a lot of material possessions. My grandparents and great-grandparents didn't either. So the premium, the value came from who someone was, who the person was. And so that was very important to me since day one. And it led to that transition from I to we. From I to we. A philosophy in Africa known as Ubuntu. Ubuntu. Ubuntu is a philosophy that my father drilled on us, and everywhere I traveled in Africa, I saw this happening. Ubuntu is a philosophy that speaks to the essence of being human. To be truly human says that my humanity is bound up in yours, for we can only be humans together. I am because we are. There's an unbreakable umbilical cord that ties us all as human beings. Therefore, no one wins or loses in isolation. For me to win, you have to win. Therefore, anytime one of us is dehumanized, we all are. And every time any of us is celebrated, we all are. That concept of Ubuntu helped me see all in myself and see myself in all. And that, in our philosophy back home, meant I was truly human. That's what that meant. And then I came to America. The American dream. The American dream. Whoever's in charge of branding and marketing in America has done a great job. We've heard about this all over. In fact, millions come to this country, to this large wing factory, to have an opportunity to go after their dreams, to have an opportunity to make a difference. I heard about it too. After all, I don't think you've heard of the Chinese dream. I don't think you've heard of the Moroccan dream. I don't think you've heard of an Argentinian dream. But we've all heard about the American dream. And so when I came, all I thought I had to do was just show up. That's all. I thought money grew on trees. I thought this was the land of milk and honey. All I had to do was show up. And I quickly realized that the American dream was a conditional promise. Just because you have wings doesn't mean you can fly. That takes work. That takes investment. That takes blood, sweat, and tears. And I loved that concept. And I bought in right away and went after it, full throttle. Another lesson I learned from this great country was that spirit of always tinkering. Americans are never satisfied. Never. This is fantastic. There's always a 2.0, a 3.0, a 4G, a 5G. That constant and never-ending improvement. That mindset of always innovating, always pushing, always thinking about something better. I embrace that. I absolutely love that concept. Because it says, if I can outperform yesterday every day, that becomes a worthy goal. And I embrace that. And as a result, teamed up with my father, we built a school in the Democratic Republic of Congo, serving underprivileged children from kindergarten to high school. We were helped. And my father always says, when you take the elevator to the top, always send it back down for someone else. And so the idea of giving an opportunity that many of us had to come all the way here to get, to those deserving right there in our backyard, was a no-brainer. See, all of us have an organic brilliance within us, no matter where you go on this globe, but opportunity is not everywhere. So if we can democratize it and give others a chance to live a full life, to stretch and be fully themselves, that truly becomes a gift. Roots are who you are. Wings are who you can become. The challenge for us, I know this in my own personal life, and I'm sure in yours, that sometimes we come from difficult backgrounds, and we may want to forget about our roots. We may have had challenging upbringing. But as my father always says, take the lessons because you cannot change your past. You cannot change your roots. Take the lessons from it, take the message from it, but leave the mess. Leave the mess. And then, of course, America taught me how to stretch and not be complacent. Take advantage of every single opportunity and be bold about taking these gifts that sometimes we take for granted to use. So I'm going to ask you to embrace your roots. They are who you are. And to stretch and spread your wings. They are who you can become.